Hello, everyone. Today we will be discussing about a topic which is quite interesting and quite important, which is the viral marketing. So, what can we do to go viral? What is the ideas and the methodologies behind go viral? And as growth hackers, it's always very important that we have a process about that, right? It's because we keep getting from clients and from the community the idea that they want to go live, but then that is all. They don't know which follow to process so that something that they are doing will go viral. And even there is even a confusion of the definition of what going viral means. So and that's exactly the topic that we will be discussing today. So that I'm Theo, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of Growth Hackers, responsible for the community, for the software, for a brand new platform which is called GrowthOS, and I'm taking the training of the community very seriously. So that's why you see that we have a series um, of topics that we will be discussing. And as a lecturer in NYU in New York, what I'm doing is that I will be bringing you all the lectures that I'm doing at the university. I'm bringing them to you. So stay tuned because all these presentations will get in the lineup the next couple of months. So that is all. Let's move directly to the topic. So first of all, let's discuss about the definition. So what is the affiliate marketing? What is or what we call referral marketing? Normally, we used to call that viral marketing or referral marketing. These are the two things that they work. There is quite a confusion with affiliate marketing because people they believe that when somebody is introduced us, then that is affiliation. It is affiliation in one hand, but what is quite important here is that when affiliate has some reasons and some ways to share something to people, and then that comes with a concept that immediately that is what we call viral marketing. So these three elements together is giving us a definition of viral marketing. Now, if we go a bit beyond that, we would like to understand out of these three elements we just discussed, what are these elements that will actually result a successful campaign? And the formula is that a successful viral campaign has to do with 40% of the concept of the viral campaign, 20% of the rewards, and 40% of the communication. And by communication, we mean the channels that you will be using, if you will be pushing, you will be sponsoring it, if you will have some kind of messaging and all this stuff. So these are the important elements. If you see here, the tool itself doesn't play a role. If you will select one of the big players in the market or even small players, but with the feature set that you need, that will not make any difference. The difference will always be on the concept, on the rewards that you will be giving, and the communication. And that will make or break a viral campaign. And we will see all these in detail. So you will know exactly how to build every single step of them. Okay, and you will see why we have some reasons and we have a lot of expertise in building that. Now, we used to do paid ads for getting users. Now, more and more, what we want is to be introduced by other users, by users that they like the brand or by users that are somehow connected with the brand. That's exactly what we try to do in viral marketing. And who will actually share? Not everybody, right? Those that are those that are happy, right? Happier than others, at least, or those that they believe the cause. Because sometimes We know a lot of cases that people, they will share something and they will say, "Oh, that's nice. I would like to share that with my friends," although they are quite early and the features they have are not what we want. But we like the brand, we like the cause, and we will share it and we'll give them an opportunity. You see, sometimes happiness is not just coming because of the features that you have and because you have more features than others. So remember that, right? Sometimes the message alone or the aesthetics part of that alone is enough to um, um, to see what's happening and people start sharing. Now, and what does one group of customers leads to another group of customers? Let's see that. So there are three important elements here. One is what we call the consumer behavior, and in order for us to nail the consumer behavior, it's a bit of art, right? We need to come up, and that's what we said before, art, right? So, and that's what we said before, the concept. Now, the concept is a bit of art. You need to come up with a nice idea in order for you to model your viral growth. Then, from that point on, you need to have the tactics and you need to have some metrics to understand if the campaign is actually working and if it's bringing you the users that you want, or if you may want to change something in your campaign. And obviously there is also the tactics, and those three things together, they will actually bring you the sustainable growth. Now, if we start from the very beginning, we say that we'll start with the story. We'll start with a restaurant that it was called the Set of Dulwich, and that was a restaurant that it was ranking last in TripAdvisor. That was a story in something like 3 to 4 years ago. So they started from the very bottom and they wanted to prove that they can rank first on TripAdvisor. Now let's see the process that they followed. Okay, if you don't know, the story is a global case study. I believe it makes sense for you to go and Google, although we'll give you the full idea of how they did it. Now, the interesting thing is that the menu was comprised by moods. You see, that's exactly why we say that this is art. So they had very strange names of the food, and they decided that that alone will be quite different from all the others. Now, it ended up that the difference was something different, something else, but that was part of art trying to get people in there. Now, the second one is that they had very controversial photos. So, like the one that you see here, or very strange photos that people normally they don't expect to see in a restaurant. Just imagine now with AI, that would be even better or different, but they were very strange, not very particular, not a typical food photography that you would see from a restaurant. And the third one is that they didn't have an address. So if you see here, it's only by reservation. They did have an address. That was a restaurant in the UK, by the way, and that was all. So straight pictures, no address, and very strange menu. And they ended up to rank first in a very limited time. Now the point is that when we analyze what is happening is that in reality that restaurant never existed. So, and that is exactly the viral element of what I'm just explaining here. Literally didn't exist. So, which means that people they were queuing or they were calling a restaurant with no address and nothing particular just because it went viral. Now, and that was the guy. Obviously, TripAdvisor took it down the moment they realized that that was the issue. But the point here was that we analyze what's happening with going viral, and that is in a reverse engineering way. We wanted to understand why they did it, okay, how they did it, and the first one was gamification. So when you they put it just appointment or lack of address, then they feel that they need to discover the address. They need to be able to to play with finding the restaurant, and that was the first thing. So gamification. People they didn't obviously they didn't understand that the restaurant doesn't exist, but they were thinking that there is a gamification process behind. So the first one was gamification. The second one was exclusivity because of it was based on appointments. It was based on different um, uh, tricks. Then people they feel that they're very exclusive because obviously because the restaurant didn't exist, they couldn't invite people. So that's why they were saying a lot of no's. So no's, they were assumed and considered from people that they were getting the no's as that were not good for them. So it's a very exclusive club. And people they were claiming that they've been there and they ate there and they liked the place and everything, although they never been there, obviously because the restaurant didn't exist, right? So that was the main idea. So up to now, gamification and exclusivity were the two main reasons. And the third one is that what they did was something remarkable because of the photos of the food photography and all the other stuff. It was something that you do not easily forget. Okay, so up to now we said about gamification, we said about exclusivity, and then creating something that is remarkable and you stay top of mind because of that. So these are the three elements that we're talking about now. And yes, then they unveiled that the restaurant never existed, and then we knew everything about that. So keep these three elements. When you want to create something viral, make sure that you have a gamification element in there, that you make them feel exclusive, and we'll explain you how you can do that. And then that there is the element of creating remarkable thing, which means nice visuals, which means nice aesthetics, nice icons, nice designs, everything to be remarkable. Not necessarily nice for everybody, but remarkable for so that people they will never forget you. Okay, now what is and how you can engineer that, because it's all about engineering it. Okay, now the first thing that you need, and there are different examples here that we can explain. The first thing here is that first, for example, the first thing you need is a milestone concept, that you don't need to put rewards that they are few nor very big. People they don't believe in big rewards. They believe that they will never get it, they will never achieve it, they will have to do a lot of stuff to get it. And at the end of the day, it's always a topic of transparency that will come up, and they will say that we don't believe that they will give us the car or the house. We believe they will give it to somebody they know. So that's why, rather than having one big reward, it's better to have multiple of them, and not multiple of them just like that, but multiple of them in a milestone concept. Meaning that if you will refer a friend, you get something at first. Then, if you will refer 5 friends, then you get something more. If they will refer 10 friends, then you get something more. And then, if they will refer more, then you get some cash back or whatever. You see, different achievable milestones in different in different stages and based on different numbers that people can actually invite. Now, sometimes if you are creative enough, people they may say, okay, that's fine. We don't want to get something which is necessarily monetary, right? Such as discount or cashback or whatever. Some people are quite happy just to be mentioned on the website, or some others are very happy just getting some merchandise material. It depends of your creativity. That's why we say that you need to be very creative and you need to create something that people that would like to participate. Okay, it's not always related to the number of cashback or the discount that you will be giving. So, and the idea for that is that at first, people they don't know about the product. They will refer to a friend, but they don't know how good the product is. Especially if we're talking about a pre-launch campaign, they have no idea. So that's why you need to give them something that they will like, that they will see that it's nice, it's something beautiful, something they would like to have, and from that point on, you will see that that will go viral. Now, the first thing is the viral concept. Now, the second one is that you need um, to understand that people they will share the referral link, but they will not necessarily come from they will only 7 out of 10 people will come from referrals, and then you will see that there will be at the end of the day it will be very few that will be a lot of people. So you need to understand that the referral marketing and the viral marketing is not a game for everybody. So you need to find your group of people that they will start inviting, and some people it depends of what you are giving them. Some people they will even run ads for that. They will run ads with their own referral link in order for them to get something back, which is interesting as an approach. Now, and in order for you to understand how the campaign is doing, you need to work with the measurements. And there are a few measurements here and few metrics that you need to know. So the first one is K factor. Now the K factor is the total number of registration per unique inviting user. So that is a K factor. So if, for example, you have an average of a K factor 0.2 is when you get 1,000 new users for every 5,000 of other users referred. That is the K factor. Okay. Again, K factor is the percentage between the new users that are coming from the invitations of the others. That's the K factor. Now, if you want to see the number here, there are different elements to optimize that and see how people are getting. If you like, I could send you the formulas later on to understand. But in general, there are different best practices in the K factors and the way that you forecast and the way that you optimize this process. So, and you need to do so. You need to have different scenarios to understand what's happening, because at the end of the day, you are giving them something. So you need to understand what you are giving them in order to see what you can actually, how you can forecast the cost of your viral campaign. Now, let's discuss about the 5 lessons we learned after running something like 4,000 campaigns. And because we created a software named Viral Loops, we exited it a year ago. So, but we know all these things because we were running our own software. So, so the first one was the milestone structure. Okay, so we need to remember that, and that is all. Easily achievable milestones and a lot of them, so that people they will feel that they can actually get them. The second one is that you should not underestimate the offline word of mouth, which is offline word of mouth. It counts for 80% of the total word of mouth, which means that people they will not always share digital. Don't expect that people they will just go through their WhatsApp or through their email or through Facebook and they will start sharing. A lot of sharing will happen while speaking to people, right? Physical word of mouth, kind of. And the only way to leverage the word of mouth channel is having referral codes or invitation codes that are very easy to remember. Just imagine that if I will tell you, look, that in order for you to get into my referral system, you need to remember the code 3KA W5AB. Or I could say put my name in that link, put my name, and then that means that you will get a discount coming from me. So you need to remember that because word of mouth will be used, physical word of mouth, then you need to make everything, all the ticket, the referral code, deadly simple. Okay, and then you will see that will work. And that is exactly what we say here, which is the memorable referral codes, which is also used in Instagram stories. So in Instagram stories, you may have a link or you may not have a link, but in any case, even in a post, you may have a code that everybody will remember. Because sometimes you put a code in people they cannot click. So if they cannot click, at least what is happening is that they need to remember. That's why you need to have a memorable referral code in all the digital channels that they are not clickable. Now, what you need to remember is that normally 80% of the referrals will come from one channel. Now, if we're talking of B2C, you will see that most of the channel that will bring you most of the traffic, you may try all of them, okay? But the most of the traffic will come from one channel, and that is Facebook. Even today, now Facebook, maybe you believe it's a bit old, but Facebook nowadays is a lot about communities, it's about groups. So still, it makes sense, and you will see that people for B2C they will rely a lot on that. Now, in B2 small b, there the difference is that the conversions will come from the email, because in B2B businesses, people they don't refer publicly, right? Don't expect them that they will put out something that in order for them to get a discount. But what is happening is that they will start selling with their friends and they will send them emails, and that's exactly where 90% of the conversions are coming. Now, some of them, yes, they will share through Messenger, they will share through WhatsApp, one to one. Most of in B2B world, most of the referrals will come one to one. While in B2C, you create a post and you say, look, use that code and you will get a discount. It will happen. But in B2B, people they don't do that because they don't want to be connected with the brands, and that's why they will select channels that are very one-to-one. WhatsApp and Messenger are two of them, and obviously the email. So they will send emails, and that's why you need to make it very simple. The email to be sent, not complicated forms, not nothing. They click a button, they send a form, they select the people they like, they send the mail, boom, that's all. That's all you need. You need to do it very simple because that is where the conversions will come from. Now, that said, you need to convert and you need to invite and trigger referrals when you have happy clients. And in order for you to understand that, what you can do is that you can combine a viral marketing campaign together with an NPS campaign, Net Promoter Score, where Net Promoter Score is a procedure, a process, a score that we give when we have, let's say, 6 out of 10 with just one question. The one question that is coming up with the NPS score is how likely is for you to share to share the presentation, to share the our application. If and then you have detractor, those that are not very likely to do so. Then you have some people that are in between, and then there are some that they will be very they will like you and they will like to promote you. So Gregorio, yes, I will share the deck, and not only the deck that you see now, but I will also share the video that we're recording. So and in tomorrow's newsletter, both of them will be available. So as you remember, we're sending newsletters, daily newsletters in GrowthHackers. So tomorrow's newsletter will have the video and the deck. Okay. So, and if you want to discuss anything about that, feel free. You will also get a link for you to join to jump on a call with me discussing particular this kind of stuff. Now, that said, you need to connect NPS together with a viral campaign. Just imagine the following. Just imagine that you have a user that is trying to onboarding. We have in applications, web applications or mobile applications, doesn't make any difference. There are something that we call FTE, first time experience. So in first time experience, people they try to onboard, they try to understand what your application is doing and this kind of stuff. And let's assume that they are struggling with that. They don't get it. They have issues connecting their email and different stuff. And then, because you do not connect the viral marketing together with the NPS, what's happening is that at the moment of them struggling, you are popping up a message saying, would you like to refer to a friend? Then obviously there, they will answer no, and they will become detractor. So that's why you need first to measure and see the aha moment of the client. And then you may say, okay, now if I see that they did what I want them to do, that means that they're happy with that, which means now is the time for me to ask for referral. So the timing of referral is important. Don't ask for referral too early. It's the same way. You remember that in several ways. In several websites we see that the moment that you get on the website, you see a pop-up coming up saying, give us your email and we'll give you a discount if you will buy. But that's the point. The point is that at that point you destroy your brand because it's too early to ask something. First, you need to give something, right? You need to make them feel better, and then you ask them their email, you ask them to refer to their friends, you ask them to send invites and all this stuff. Okay, so connect. The key takeaway from here is connect the invitation with NPS, with happiness. And then let's discuss about the framework to build a successful viral and referral marketing campaigns. Now, the first one is that you need to discuss of your objective and goal. Why you want to run a campaign? Is that because you want to acquire new users? Is that because you want to get email subscribers? Is that because you want to recruit new users in a free app? These are three different goals. And because the goal is different, obviously the campaign should be different. Not all campaigns look the same. We said the most important element is the concept. Now, the concept has to do a lot with what we want to achieve, right? And it's very different when you go from 1 to 10 rather than the 10,000 to 12,000. It's very, very different if you're just starting or you just to scale up. Okay, so the first one that we need to discuss with the team that will be implementing the campaign is actually the objective and the goal. What we have quite often is when we have the software is that people they were getting the software in a very do-it-yourself way, so they were implementing everything themselves, and they never spend the time in understanding and building the correct concept. So they had the best tool, but they didn't have the proper concept to apply it to. And that was quite generic. That's something that people they didn't embrace. It depends. Okay. Now, so the first one is to decide and speak and analyze the objective and the goal. Now, the second one is to understand what is the invitation trigger. And here is where ChatGPT comes into the picture. That is, all the legalities will come into the picture. And then you say, okay, now what's happening here? So what is the trigger to invite? Is that because I want actually to create some kind of algorithm so that I want people to feel that they are part of something? Is that because they want to support? So what is the trigger for them? Is that because getting a discount next time? Is it because getting cash back? Is because just imagine what's happening with Airbnb. Airbnb is not giving you any discount. Airbnb is doing something very smart, which is actually giving something to you, but also giving something to the one that you will be you will invite. And the monetary value that they're giving that guy is less than the real value that you are getting by introducing something that it makes sense. You will see that, and that's why they did that. It's a psychological game here where you prefer to share something of value, and then people will own you. You like people own you, own you, right? That's the idea. So, and that's the next thing. The next thing that you need to discuss is the invitation trigger. The third thing is the reward. So what are you gonna give? Are you gonna give cash rewards, discounts, swank, social currency? And by social currency, we mean what we said before, that just a mention on the website, or what Foursquare was doing at the time, naming you mayor of a place, right? Which is not anything important, but it was just a social currency, recognition. Okay, and this is the reward. So, and that is the third part that you need always to analyze, which is part of the concept. And you see why I said that it has to be creative, because even if we're talking about swank, for example, and that is the example that we had in viral loops, is that even the t-shirts that we were giving or the stickers that we were giving, they were stickers not of the brand, very important, but stickers that people they would like to use, or t-shirts they would like to actually wear. And then even we were giving some socks, and we were not giving two socks, a pair of socks, we were giving three of them, because we wanted to promote how cool the brand was, rather than something that it was just the name of the brand. You don't want to to deliver something which is just the name of the brand in there, unless you are a very well recognized Apple brand. So if it says Apple, then yes, you can give a T-shirt with the name Apple if you are Apple. But if you are selling apples, then most probably you need to come up with something that people they would like to wear rather than just anything else. Okay. Now there are very few cases where the name of alone became a viral element. Very few cases. The bookstore Strand is doing that in New York, for example. They managed to have a bag with just the name on top, and that became viral. But that's very rare. So normally you need to be creative to come up with something that is beautiful. Now, the fourth one is that you need to understand how people will actually learn about the campaign, which means that you need to do different things. You need to have it on your website. You need to have it as a top bar. You need to have it in, maybe you need to run a product hunt campaign, or maybe you need to ask people in different platforms in your community through emails, different things. And that is the next thing that you need to understand. Do you have any budget to spend? If you have any budget to spend, then you may run some budget in order to lead people in the system. Okay, that's the next thing. And then the next one is the technicality behind that. How people will share. Okay, are they going to use messaging apps? Are they going to use email contacts? For example, if they will use email contacts, what is the technology behind using email contacts? You will ask them to give you the email of the friends so that you will send them the invitation. Are you going to just open up the email client of them and you will ask them to type in the emails they like to their friends? How you will do that? There are pros and cons, but the technicality is also very important, because the moment that someone will click a link and will open up the email client, then they will put the name of their friends. That is something that it in some cases may work better than just giving a form and then uploading a CSV with your friends, for example. Right? It depends. It depends from what you are giving and what's the concept behind. Now, sometimes you may also ask them to upload an image, for example, and that image will be shared, and if the image will be shared, then a coach will get something, right? So, and that's why we say that you need to be creative. All the things that we're discussing now, all of them are related to the concept. Okay, so that's why it's so important to come up with the concept. Now, what will make a non-user to convert? That's part of the discussion. So it could be FOMO, because you may give something out that of a specific number, meaning that I have limited t-shirts or limiting pair of socks or swank or stickers for the 1,000 first people, or those that they will come in 10 days. Okay, and then people they will convert because maybe what you are giving is useful or cool, maybe because and they will do that because they actually trust their friends, so that's why when they get an invitation from a friend they will accept it, maybe of FOMO, of fear of missing out, and then it could be because of the reward. Normally we don't do the reward, any kind of reward, unless it will be a first purchase, okay, or a sign up, because sometimes signing up is as important as getting a purchase. Okay, for example, for financial institutions or fintech companies, creating an account and passing through KYC, that alone is very important, and it has a monetary value in there, because the users will spend some time identifying themselves and verifying their ID. That alone needs to be rewarded. Okay. Now, that said, the next thing is to understand the anatomy of a viral campaign. So, viral campaign is normally when, and the viral funnel, as we call it, is something that it will actually send the invitation. Then people, they will click and they will get into the form. Then they will invite their friends. Then someone else will get the invitation and will actually register, and then registration will be completed. That's exactly where the conversion is happening, because inviting means nothing. Okay, accepting the invitation and creating an account means everything. That's where the maths is coming. Because just imagine something else, that people, they may get invitations from different people. Now, who has actually influenced them to convert? Is it the first one? Is it the last one? Do they need to split and all of them get a cut? It depends. So, right? So that's why you need always to discuss what is the funnel and what we consider conversion. But again, a typical mistake is considering conversion just the delivery of the invitation, because inviting is easy. Everybody will invite. They have no reason not to. The problem is that you want them to convert, you want to get into that invitation, and you want them actually to do the job, which is actually giving you the email coming from that invitation. And then you connect the dots, and then you know exactly what's happening. Now, and that is exactly the key factor that we were discussing before. We were discussing it, and there's also, besides the key factor, we call it the viral coefficient, because it's about understanding what's happening. Now, if you see, and if you want to get the best practice of what a viral coefficient is, we would say that in between 0.15 to 0.25 is okay, is a good thing to have. If you remember, this number here was actually getting 1,000 users for 5,000 invitees or invited from 5,000 invitees. That is a 2.5. Okay, the 0.2. Now, that number from 15 to 25, 0.15 to 0.25 is a good number. Normally, you should go for 0.4. And that is another thing, which means one user every 3 users if they can actually be invited. Now, sometimes there are some cases where you have 0.7, which is actually for every two users, you are getting one that is being invited. A lot of companies, they do that, and they are giving different incentives for that to happen. And that is something normally that if you do that, you see you have an outstanding performance in your viral campaign. So that's the idea. Now, what you need to measure and you need to optimize is actually the user adoption. So how many users you are getting, how many invitation is user is sending, and you need to deliver more incentives for them to deliver more emails. Okay, so you need to give them the option to do to say that, for example, that you just invited one, invite two more, and then you will get the pair of socks. So you are giving them incentives of the milestones every time. Another number that you care about is how long it takes a user to start inviting others. That's also very important. You need to measure the time, and that time needs to be very short, because people, they tend to forget. So if they will not get in the aha moment in the first 6 minutes of them seeing your brand or signing up or whatever you want to do, then if they will not get in the aha moment in 6 minutes, most probably they will never invite in these 6 minutes, and you will lose the window. So the window that you have is actually 6 minutes. In 6 minutes, from the moment that the client will click and will get on you, you need to get the aha moment, and that's exactly your opportunity to invite other people. If it will not happen within 6 minutes, it will never happen, statistically speaking. Okay, now, and then the next question here is how long it takes for a user to convert from an invitation, which means to accept an invitation, because I may invite someone in the first 6 minutes, and then is the email get delivered? Is that WhatsApp will get delivered, or text message will be delivered? And how much time it will take the other party to convert? Okay, and then you need to see if the user will not convert, then in which point you ask the user to send the reminders, the initial invitation and then the reminders. Obviously, it's not your user that will send the reminder, it's you, but you need to plan that and be part of the process. Now, some tips to growth hack your viral campaigns. So the first one is that you need always to have the events, and you need always to have the events in happy moments. Okay, that's the first thing. We said that before. We insist because we know how important that is. Now, the second one is that we need to convert ambassadors in paying clients. So it's not just about building an ambassador program, is about, from that point on, to retarget those people in order to become real users. That's the idea, right? It's not just about them getting your swag. What they do next, you gave them the swag because you want them to convert somehow. You want them to do something. That is also quite important. So you need a follow-up plan for those that you got when you were running the pre-launch campaign or the viral campaign. And then you need always to explain people what they need to do to get the referrals. Okay, don't assume that people, they know what they need to do because they see a form or whatever. Okay, you need to explain. So spend some time, explain what's happening, explain why, explain the cause, explain the process. So, and the next one is that you need to explain the technology behind that, because people, they will use different systems, they will use different devices, they will use different platforms, and then they need to be able to refer in all of them. So how they do that? Sometimes we just create an Instagram post ready-made for them, and they share the Instagram post. That is enough. You see, that's exactly what we mean, that you explain people how to get referrals. Now, the next one is that we need to um, prompt for minimum, we need always to go for minimum invite effort with maximum result. Okay, so which means that the system needs to work in a very automated manner. And that's why, in order for that to happen, you need to give them the options and you need to publish some stuff out there. Because one of the concepts, for example, is that you have like a pyramid where people, a leaderboard, let's call it a leaderboard rather than a pyramid. So you have a leaderboard where people, they actually need to climb, and then when that's happening, then people, they like climbing from one position to another, and then you can very easily explain what they need to do in order for them to climb in different positions. Sometimes they don't know that there are a few referrals away from the next prize, and you need to explain them that. That's all. That it's about automating a process that rather than you doing that, others they will do. And then if you have a public leaderboard, then you may say you will see that people, they will start competing, because one thing that people, they like is they like competing with others. So you will see that they will like to go above them, and then you may introduce some other elements. For example, you may introduce football teams or basketball teams or cities, and then out of a sudden it will become the let's say the SF versus New York City, because people, they will try to get the top. And if you have a nice interface explaining that, then you will see that people, they will go for, and then it will, that's the way it goes viral, right? It goes beyond just running a campaign, because someone will pick it up and will try to create a winning city out of that. Now, and the next thing is that you need to build milestone, and you need to build milestone for specific things. And here, if you see from milestones in the beginning, we tend to say that if you justify one friend, you win nothing. You just We will just thank you for that. That's all. Now, if you will invite few of them, then you may get stickers. And if you will do more, then you get more and more. And that is what you see now in front of you, is the example of the hustle, which is very successful. They started from that, and obviously they created a very cool brand, because the cool brand was part of the strategy. Okay, and that's why people, they wanted their stickers, they wanted their t-shirts, they wanted their swank. And that's why in the beginning they were giving nothing other than a thank you note. Now, the next thing is that every time someone is coming saying, I would like to implement a refer a friend campaign, or a pre-launch campaign, or an early adopter campaign, but that's the point. The point is, people, they don't want to be early adopters. They don't want to be a part of a refer a friend campaign. You need to create something that's more sellable than that. So people, they like to be ambassadors. They like to be brand lovers. They like to be invited. They like to join you. You need to name them somehow. For example, it's not by mistake that it's not by luck that Taylor Swift is calling their fans Swifties, right? So that means something, because people, they need to belong somewhere, and the referral campaign is a great opportunity for people to belong. Don't miss that opportunity. Just put a name in your campaign that is boring. Okay. Now, 3 tips more. One is, don't start with a tool. And that comes from me, that we build and we exit a tool, but still, we know what a successful campaign means. Selecting a tool will not make the campaign successful. Will just enable you to do so. Okay, so remember, don't start from a tool, start from the concept. All the tools will support that, assuming that you go for a proper tool, right? So, but don't start from the tool. The next one is build in your copy and your creative. And the next one is Keep boosting participations. Don't just create a campaign that you believe that it will work automatically. It will not. You need to keep boosting it. You need to give them incentives to invite more again and again. You need to tell them why they need to invite people, all this stuff. You need to trigger and boost your campaign every single moment. Now, remember that 70 to 80% of your campaigns, of your referrals, will come offline. So make it easy to be told and remembered. Okay, something that most people they don't do, which is very strange. And that was all. So if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. So feel free, write them here. Otherwise, tomorrow you will get, as we said, you will get the presentation and the recording of this video. Any questions? I can give you few minutes to come up with your questions. If you want just to know, I didn't put here on the slide, but if you want, there are various tools such as Referral Hero or Viral Loops, Ambassador. There are different applications. If you like to get a list of the tools, I could also give you a list of the tools. Now, what's the minimum budget for a viral campaign? What's the minimum budget? Gregorio, the question of the minimum budget is related to the budget spent or to the tool itself? Because a tool itself, it depends on how many people you have, because all is about emailing and this kind of stuff. So normally every tool, it starts from 99 up to 200, 300 per month for the time that you are running the campaign. Now, if we're talking about the paid spend by minimum budget, I believe that if you want to get something like, it has to do a lot with the concept, it has to do a lot with the goal of the campaign. So if you want to get users to be invited or a pre-launch campaign, I believe that something like 3 to 5K needs to be distributed, needs to be used as the minimum budget for a viral campaign, right? To build something. But the real cost is never the time spent, because if you will manage to give to get 1,000 users and then or 2,000 users, and then they will get a discount or they will get a cashback, that is where the real cost is. That's why every viral campaign needs to be forecasted in terms of what we are giving away. Okay, the budget, the paid spend is something we control. I said it should be in between 2 to 5K for the time of the campaign, which is normally we do that for 1 to 3 months. It depends. If it's a pre-launch campaign, it's a different thing. If it is a launch campaign, it's a different one. If it's a viral campaign within the product, it's a different one. So that's why, unfortunately, there is not a simple question, a simple answer to your question. But that's the ball numbers are the numbers that I'm just telling you. Any more question? Okay, then. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much, and because that was actually live in LinkedIn, in X, in YouTube, in Instagram, and here in StreamYard. So thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.